Hello, my friends. So, what did Todd see? I'm going to show you what Todd saw. And this, I'm pretty excited about what we're going to do today. The other day, I was riding right through here, and I decided to stop and check into this right here. I was going to see if anybody was there, and I could talk to them. It intrigued me because I find it interesting there could be a store or a business specifically about horse blankets. And I'm still working on that. There's a sign on the front door that says by appointment only. So I'm going to call Peggy one day. But while I was here, I saw something, and this is not the first time I've seen it. I have seen this for years, but I never thought much about it. You know, that right there, if you know me or watch my channel, you know Mulder's custom rods and classic restoration would pique my interest. And I probably did a few times as I drove by, but when out front, there's never cars. Like, I couldn't see any hot rods or cars or classic cars out front. I thought that was just something from years gone by, something from the past. And there was nothing like that here anymore. Just blew it off, you know, never looked into it. Well, when I was checking out Peggy's horse blankets, I decided that to just walk back in the back here, and I walked through. They're all closed now. It's cold today, but that one of those bay doors was open, and the guy that runs this place, his name is Billy Mulder, was standing there. I think his wife or someone had just dropped off some lunch for him. And I walked up, and when I walked up into that bay and could see inside this shop, it was like in the movies, you know, when somebody walks into heaven or just this wonderful place and music starts playing and there's stars sparkling and things are lighting up and it's just, things start to glow. It was one of those feelings. It is so cool. So I asked Mr. Mulder if he would be willing to allow me to do a video, and he said sure. And he thought a good day to do that would be on Friday, when he had more of the folks that work with him there, and there might be more going on. And it is Friday, so let's go see what we can get into. Okay, so what I saw when I walked through that bay door that I was telling you about was this man was standing here, and I introduced myself, and I saw what was behind him, and it was like magic. It was just so cool. And so, who are you?
I'm Billy Mulder.
Billy Mulder.
We have a classic car restoration hot rod shop here, Brenham.
Yep. And what do you do here? I mean, what services do you provide people? If somebody wants their car
If they want it restored, we'll do a full restoration. We do paint jobs. If they want modifications, we do modifications or upgrades. Build a hot rod, whatever they want. Pretty much do it as long as it's an old hot rod or old car.
Do you do interiors? Like upholstery?
We do a little bit of upholstery work. I have a guy out of Houston that comes and helps us with the upholstery work. And
yeah.
We do most of everything else.
So if somebody wants custom upholstery, you like subcontract some of that kind of stuff out?
Yeah, I have a guy that comes in, we do it, and he'll do whatever we want.
And paint and body work?
We do it all here, paint and body. We got a full paint and body shop in the back.
So custom paint jobs?
Custom paint, factory jobs, whatever.
Yeah. So we're gonna meet in a little bit. I've already met him. The custom painter, which I guess is he a painter of paint cars, the whole car?
He does the artwork, graphic and artwork and pinstripe.
The artworks, right? Yeah. And that's Stefan.
Stefan Schultz. And my painter, Wade Pieper, he's a long-time painter. He's been working for him for a long time, but he does all the body work and paint and fabrication on all the cars.
Yeah, we're gonna meet him too.
Start to finish.
So, I know from looking at your website that this all started with your dad.
Yes.
It was kind of a family tradition, cars and racing and that kind of thing.
My dad was into cars. My whole family's into cars. My dad was a racer, and
So can you tell us a little bit about your dad? I mean, did he make his living in the automobile
No.
industry?
No.
Or, okay, we're gonna have to pause.
pause here.
Hi,
Hello.
Richard.
Yep.
All right.
Nuts.
I know. That's I want to go over spotting for you guys again. Okay, we're rolling again now, so you go ahead. With your-
Okay, so we had a little bit of an interruption. One of the things I agreed to provide lunch for Billy, being gracious enough to let us do this video, so the pizza came. But we're back now. So tell us about your dad. Was he a
No, my dad was a
auto
hobbyist, racing into cars, and he had hot rods and all that stuff. And I grew up at the racetrack, and Dad always had cars, and we went racing motorcycles, we were racing cars, dirt cars. Drag racing, whatever. So I was kind
But
of born
you
into it.
make a living.
Now I
working
make a
on
living
cars.
doing it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Or did he have a
No.
full-time job and then
My dad was
also
a firefighter.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So he was a full-time fireman, not just a volunteer firefighter.
No, he's a full-time fireman. Yep. That's how he made his living, was firefighting. So it was just his passion, was cars.
How are you?
Good, how about you?
Todd.
I'm Paul.
Nice to meet you, Paul.
Likewise.
This is Billy.
Oh yeah, I've met him.
Paul's in our body shop. He's one of our body shop hands.
Okay. One of the body guys is here. His name's Paul.
Howdy.
We're making a YouTube video, Paul.
Oh, so I've heard.
So after a while, we're going to talk a little bit more about body work and how you got started on it, right?
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
You didn't just roll out of bed one day and say, hey, I think I'm going to do body work,
No.
right?
I don't
There was a
think so.
beginning to it. Okay. So first of all, let's go back to this thing
Okay.
with our story. Can you follow us, Carrie? Would that be possible? We're going to go over here and Billy's going to show us his dad's car. He got all this started. And dad's nickname was Chip.
My dad's nickname was at the racetrack was Chip. He had a friend that went to races with him every time he raced. His name was Dale. His real
Oh,
name was
goodness.
Dale. So they had done a lot of arguing at the racetrack about what they were going to do with the car to make it faster. So that's how they got the nickname. They called him Chip and Dale because if you remember right, the
Yeah.
old cartoon, all they did was bicker and fight.
Yeah.
So this car was
What are you doing here? I gotta go. Oh, yeah, I got one too. Yeah, well, I got mine first. You don't want to see yours, you big lug. Better just spin out of here, stupid. Go on, home. Got a horse in there.
This car was built in 1957. My dad raced it for about 5 or 6 years. It held a record in 1960. It was the North Texas Timing Association back then instead of NHRA. So he was given to me when I was 16, so I drove it to high school, and it's been in the family ever since, and we restored it back the way it was about 13 years ago, back when it was in race condition. So, but it's still a street car, but it was basically, I drove it, my dad drove it. I mean, we just drove it everywhere.
This
So,
is a 29 Ford Roadster,
29
right?
Ford Roadster. Yes, sir.
So,
all
and-
steel car.
What is that power plant?
327 Chevrolet with a 4-speed transmission.
There's a whole lot of old Fords that have Chevrolet engines
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
front there.
That was the.
And a whole lot of Chevrolets that have Ford rear ends in them.
Yes, this one has a Ford rear end with the Chevrolet drive.
9-inch.
Yeah.
So, what would be, what's the fastest quarter mile this car gets ever run?
1223 was his record.
12:23.
That was in 1960.
You think it'll still do that?
Nah, probably pretty close. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So, if you take this to the drag strip, do you like baby it because of what it is,
No.
or it's balls to the wall?
It's balls to the wall.
Yeah.
No baby.
The
No
only way
baby.
to do it, right?
No baby in it. No.
Yeah. So this car was the beginning, and when you were a kid, you had this car. You had it in high school. I think you said you were undefeated in high
I
school.
was undefeated in high school.
So
Nobody
you
could
mean you
outrun
and your
me.
friends outlaw drag raced?
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
We
Say
did.
it ain't so.
Back in the 70s, we raced on the old highway outside of town.
Don't tell anybody.
Usually on Saturday nights.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that has evolved into a different car.
Yes.
That, it's I don't know if you call it a sister, but it follows in this tradition. It has
Follows
the
in
same
the
feel
tradition.
for it. So let's
Yeah.
go have a look at that and tell us about that car. So this is the car that you actively race now,
Yes,
right,
I'm
Billy?
currently racing this car.
Can you tell us about this car? And
This is a 34 Ford. I run a nostalgic series. We started it about 5 years ago. I've had several race cars in the past. I sold my last race car about 6 years ago, and I said, I'm done racing. I'm not going to race anymore.
Yeah, right.
2 weeks later, we started building this car, and I found a series that we could race in that was fun and back to basic racing. So all the cars we race with has a name on them, and we couldn't figure out what to do. And I was like, oh, we're just going to run it for a couple of years with no name on it. And then my wife says, we just need to name it Chip's Revenge because we already have Chip. So that's how it started out. So we had Stefan come in, and he done all the artwork on it. He's done a great job on that.
he sure did.
So we're still racing today, and we've been racing it. This will be our 5th year series. So we're having a lot of fun. So it's hard to get that racing out of your blood once it gets in there. It's really tough.
So what class?
We run a nostalgic Eliminator 2, which is a 5, 6, and 8 mile class.
5 second, 8 mile class.
Mhm.
Let's talk about that beast. That's a little more than the 327.
That's a little
that's
bigger
in-
than the 327. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a rear Morrison 502 with an 871 blower on it, and it makes a lot of power and a lot of fun. It runs on methanol.
I can't imagine how much fun that is.
It is a lot of fun. It's a pretty good adrenaline rush, so we have a lot of fun with it.
Do you pull wheels off the ground?
Yes,
when you
it will
leave?
pull the wheels off the ground. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It has wheelie bars that goes on the back. We have them off because they won't fit in the trailer with them on there. It
Yeah.
has a full hood that goes on it, and we don't have it on there because we've been servicing the car. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So one thing you had mentioned to me, you don't build motors and transmissions,
No.
things like that.
No,
And so if you would subcontract that out too. Somebody wants a particular.
if they want a
engine,
brand
you
new
can get it
motor,
put
I'll
together for
subcontract.
them.
But we'll do mechanic work on them, and
Yeah.
we'll do upgrades and stuff like that. But we don't do the full engine builds.
So just because you don't build motors here doesn't mean you're not a mechanic. You
No,
can
we
do
assemble
your own
this
maintenance
motor.
and
We
tuning
don't-
on this car.
Yeah, we assemble this motor. I had the bottom end done, and then I put it all together, and we do our own tuning, and we built the whole. We put the car together, put the motor together. So yeah, it was all started from scratch.
So did you have previous experience with superchargers? Because
No, this is my first supercharger.
that had been a bit of a learning curve.
It was
there.
a learning curve for the first season. It was a pretty good challenge, but we got it figured out now.
Right.
It's it's mechanical, so I figured we could figure it out. So
Yeah.
we just spent the nickel and put it on there and went for it.
The tuning of the different type engines, though, is
all
definitely an acquired skill.
Yes.
So,
it is.
and I know we've had huge advancements over the years in ignitions. This
Yes.
probably has something like an MSD ignition
Yes, this
system.
has a big ignition system in it. Yes, it is. It's a MSD. Yes.
That helps a lot, right?
Yes, it does. Puts out a lot of spark. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So let's, can we just go look at some of the
Sure.
really fine rides that you have in here right now and talk about them? One of them was the backdrop on our introduction. This
Yeah, this is a
beautiful red car
34
here.
Ford. It's in for service. Friend of mine's car, and we're doing some ignition work on it, and it'll be in and out of here probably in a week or so.
It looks like a car that he probably takes to a car show or something.
Yes, he does. Yeah, it's a little street ride. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever done it, but I've been seeing some videos, or for years I've been watching them about the power tours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the things where they go through 8 or 10 cities and it's a parade of.
Yes, I never have done it, but
I think that would be a blast.
Yeah.
Because they're all car people,
yeah, they're all just cruising around.
and they do
Yeah.
a car show every day for
Yeah,
a week and a half.
We've been to the Lone Star Roundup a few times in our Roadster, and we've driven it out there about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, I guess, to Austin.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Those are great days. Spend at car shows or drag races or
Right.
anytime you can be around people there. You know, I have learned, whether it's at the dirt track or at the drag strip or at a car show, they're all great people. You just
They
don't
are.
meet many a-holes, right?
Yeah,
They're just like-minded.
We have a great group of guys we race with, and that's why I'm still doing it, because it's just like a big family.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what, to me, car people,
Yeah.
it's like a family
Yeah.
feeling, you know.
It is.
So let's go have a look at the next
Okay.
fine ride. I've heard you use the term, Billy, in-house cars, and I take it that means that's either your car or your family's car. It's an
Right.
in-house car.
Yes.
And here in the shop, you have some cars that are automobiles that are your customers
They're all customers,
that
yeah.
you're working. So can we just go through those right
Yeah,
quick?
this is
starting
a
with this?
56 Chevy truck we're building for a local customer, and it's full air ride. We've done a full build on it. It's got a small block with an automatic. We're getting close to finishing it. It should be pretty soon. It'll be done, and
So it looks like this truck was lowered.
it's got air ride suspension on
Oh,
it.
air ride, nice.
Air ride suspension, yes sir.
Were these called Apaches?
This was an Apache, 3100 Apache.
Yeah.
It's all been debadged and slicked off, and it's going to be a satin black finish on this car.
Very nice.
Truck. This one is a 87 that we started on a few months ago. This is bought brand new 87 four-wheel drive Chevrolet.
And you made it invisible.
We made it invisible, yes. So the body's in the body shop. It's painted and almost done. We have a new engine over here for it, new engine and transmission, and it's getting ready to go back together. And he's real excited about it. So he's gonna have a brand new truck again.
So if you're watching this video and you're not familiar with the restoration of cars, there's a term called a off-body restoration or down to the frame, or whatever. There's
Yeah, this is a
different
frame
terms for
off.
it. So this is what we're talking about. This vehicle has been stripped down to every individual part, and you obviously recoated and repainted the frame, and then you'll put it all back together.
All back together.
So I know it would be hard to say, and every case is different, but what would you say, how many man hours does it take to do a full off-body restoration like
It's
this?
about 12 months, 12 to 14 months. I'm not working on it every day, so.
Yeah.
It was like,
But needless to say,
hours,
it's more than hundreds of hours. It probably goes well
it
over.
goes well over,
1,000.
well over that. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Well over that.
You
Yes.
good?
I'm good.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah, it takes, normally 12 to 14 months we'll do a full restoration on one, start to finish.
So this one's about as tore down as you can
This
get.
goes down to the bare nothing,
What
all the
would
way
be
down
the-
to the bare frame.
What's the ETA on having this one roll out?
Springtime, we should have it back to the customer.
Yeah, so you still like a few months on this one?
Yes, we still have a few months. Yeah, we got most of the parts here, and the body's painted. They're finishing up the bed right now. We've already got the power plant ready to go in, so we're starting on suspension, and we'll drop the motor in, drop the cab on, and then we'll start wiring.
You make that sound so easy.
Yeah, done a few of them.
So obviously your customer likes square body Chevy pickups.
This will be our 4th square body this year.
Yeah, well, I like them too. I get it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be nice when you're done.
It's gonna be nice. This is a little 65 Chevy truck we're doing for a good friend of mine. It's got a classic car dealership in Fredericksburg, Texas, Tony Cawthorn. It's called Street Dreams, and we do a lot of work for Tony, and this is a project he started for himself, and we're getting it finished up for him, and we're in the wiring stages right now, and we're gonna end up repainting it. He called me last week and said he wants to repaint it, so we're gonna go ahead and paint it once we get it running and dry.
So he's not gonna stick with the patina.
He's
It's
not
gonna be
gonna
a
change his
regular.
mind.
Yeah.
Yep, he was gonna do a patina, and then he called me and said, you know what, I think I want to paint it, so. And it's got a C4 Corvette chassis, custom chassis on there, so it's kind of a unique build.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, all Corvette suspension underneath it, so it's gonna be a really nice little truck.
Cool. What color is it gonna be when you leave
It's gonna
here?
be the factory green like it is underneath the hood here,
Yeah.
with the white top.
Yep. A lot of old Chevy trucks that color green. I don't know what they called it, but you used to see a whole bunch
I'm not
of
sure
them.
of the terminology, but it's a pretty common color on those little trucks.
Yeah. So what do we have here, Billy?
This is a 32 sedan, all steel Ford. It's been chopped and belongs to a local customer, and we're just doing some brake service work on it. We work on it several times whenever he has an issue or problem with it, and really cool little street rod. And
This is a customer's?
this is a customer's car.
Yeah. So earlier, I had mentioned, I just made an off-the-cuff comment, looked like a Bonnie and Clyde car. And Billy told me, well, not really. They didn't prefer it. This was a 32. So tell me what they preferred.
They
and why,
preferred the
Billy.
34s because it had V8 in it and they could outrun the cops in the V8. So that's why they always stole 34s.
So outrunning the cops is pretty important to them.
It was for
They
them.
wanted that big motor.
Yeah,
And you know, people still want that today. Big, more power.
a little harder to outrun these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't have nitrous or superchargers or
No.
turbochargers and none of that stuff.
No.
Well, what's the green beauty over here?
This is a 66 Charger. We've done a lot of work on it. This also belongs to the Street Dreams. And Tony's building it for his son because he drove one like this in high school.
Yeah.
So we're just doing some gauge work and some lights, and we've done a lot of work to the car, but it's in the last stages now. So we'll be going back home next week to Fredericksburg. And he's going to take a road trip in it as soon as he gets it home.
So I take it his son is grown.
Yes, his son's grown. He works at Street Dreams also. He does all the computer work and all the work for Tony there. So yeah.
So he must be a good son for his dad to give giving him something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
guess
That's
so.
a pretty
yeah.
nice gift, I would
guess
say.
so, yeah.
You
So
know.
they're real excited about getting it back, and so we should have it back to them next week.
So you know what? While we're talking about that, these old cars and things like, I think we all have one. What's sometime in your lifetime you've owned an automobile that right now you wish you wouldn't have sold that you still have? And there's probably more than one, but what sticks
there's
out
more
to you?
than one. I had a '67 SS Chevelle. I wish I still had. I drove it for about 3 years and sold it. And
You know,
yeah,
sometime within a
that'd be
month
the-
you're
that'd
like
be
kicking
the
your
one-
butt.
That'd be the one I'd like to have back, but you
Yeah.
know, it was time for it to go, and now I wish I had it back. But you know, I've had several cars between there and then, so.
Yeah. Well, let's go look at your son's truck, which I understand was your dad's.
This is my dad's truck, so we're doing a full build on that. We're not sure how the build's gonna go yet. We're just getting started on it. We're doing the chassis work right now, but my dad drove this truck for years. It's a '72 Super Cheyenne, and it was originally a 3/4 ton. We're converting it over to a 1/2 ton with a different chassis and different suspension and different engine combination.
What kind of power plant will he put in that?
I think we're gonna go LS on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of LS swapping going on.
A lot of LS swapping going on.
I understand they're getting harder and harder to find.
Yeah,
So
they
many
are. So
people
now
want them.
everybody's going to the LT motor,
Right.
which is an upgrade.
LT
We have one
82.
in the shop here, and we're not sure on this one. This is another build of my son's. This is a '79 Blazer. That's going to be a full Pro Touring truck. So you know, he went to pick up a chassis today. That's why he's not
It's
here.
going to be a drag truck,
No, it's going to be like a road racing truck.
road racing, like
Yeah.
road courses.
Road touring, like road courses.
Like
yeah.
turn to the right.
Turn to the
sometimes.
right and the left. Yeah, this one will be. Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very nice.
Okay, so what do we got back there behind door number 3? So Billy does not do what he does alone. He has a lot of help, and one of that help is Wade. And Wade, what do you do?
Well, I do paint work, body work, sheet metal fabrication, pretty much, or assembly, whatever I can do to help out. Pretty much a jack of all trades.
I would say at a place like this, restoration, it's a pretty pivotal role. So, I mean, he kind of needs
Yeah.
you, right? You got him over the barrel. So, you know, like I said earlier, somebody doesn't just roll out of bed one day and say, you know, I think I'm going to be a body man and start painting cars and doing body work. There has to be a story there. How'd you get started?
Well, when I was younger, when I had my first car, probably had it for a year or so and had a little accident. And so just decided to try to fix it myself. I'd always been into reading the hot rod magazines and everything, and I
Yep.
always liked the custom painting stuff. And so that's just kind of how I got into it, fixed my own car, and then
How'd that turn out in that first repair?
it was all right. Pretty much just replacing a fender, but
Oh.
ended up repainting the whole car. My dad helped me out. He sprayed the paint, and I just did all the sanding and everything. It looked all right, but it wasn't the greatest. That paint job didn't last too long. It ended up getting redone within a few years when I learned more and got better at it. And
Yeah. Did you
had
have
more
a
experience?
like mentors through the years, people you learn things from about the work you do today?
Yeah, I had one guy in particular when I first started out. I worked at the Dodge dealership here in town, and he was the body man there, and he taught me a lot within a couple of years, and then just kind of learned on my own and worked with several people over the years, just different people I worked at several different body shops and stuff, and just learned a little bit from everybody and just kind of taught myself how to do it, looking at.
So did you welding, that's a part of what you do, right? So I'm
Right.
sure you started out stick welding.
Actually, I started out welding with a torch.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
brazen rod, like
Yeah,
that type of
stuff,
yeah.
and then just went on to using a MIG welder, and that's what still used now.
So that's pretty sweet technology, right, in the MIGs, as opposed to what they used to do 20, 30 years ago. And now they have the TIG welding. You
Yeah.
ever tried any of that?
I have never gotten into that. I'd like to, but I just haven't never taken the time to learn how to do it. Just haven't had the time or
Yeah.
whatever.
So what we got right here, obviously you've been involved in what's happened to the cab of this truck that's going on that frame we looked
Right.
at a while
Yeah,
ago.
that's-
Can you talk a little bit about that?
That's David's 1987 Chevrolet pickup that he bought brand new and had it all these years, and we're just doing a total frame off restoration for him, repainting everything inside and out, top and bottom, and all the stripes are painted on. Then still, from the factory, that was a decal,
Right.
but we paint. He wanted all that painted on, and
That's not easy, is it?
no.
To get it just exactly right, all those lines just perfect.
Yeah, start going.
So some more of Billy's help is Paul. And Paul, you help Wade back here a lot, mostly body work?
Yes, sir. I help Wade in the body shop,
Yep.
and I deal with a lot of the body work, like sanding body filler and block sanding primer, things like that, and color sanding the clear coat once we have a finished painted vehicle, finished parts and such.
So that takes a lot of patience. To me, sanding, it's kind of monotonous and boring, right? But you have to pay attention the whole time you're doing it. 'Cause
Yes,
you can really
yes, you
mess
do.
things up.
Yes, it takes a lot of patience, but luckily for me, I really enjoy doing this type of work.
How'd you get started doing this type of work?
Well, I just decided I wanted to be a body man, and came into the shop one day and spoke with Billy.
Came to
And,
the right place, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And how long ago was that?
It's close to 2 years ago,
Yeah.
more than a year and a half ago.
So you've learned a lot. So I would say that Wade and Billy have kind of been your mentors.
Yes,
Is that
they
right?
have.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Well, thank you, Paul. I appreciate it very much. Oh, hang on. You're pretty young, but I've asked everybody this question.
Yes.
Is there a car you used to own that you wish you still had?
Oh, yes, there is. I had a 1989 Ford Mustang, a Fox body Mustang.
Yep.
And
Those are very much in demand these days.
Yes, and I let that one go for a song, and man, I miss that little pony. Yeah, even if it was a turd.
Yeah, but all you have to do is have a title and own it, and you can deturtify your automobile, right?
Yeah.
That man right there knows all about deturting automobiles.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Thank you again. All right. Okay, we're back where we were earlier, but for a different reason. We're at the 34 Ford Coupe, but we're not going to talk about the car itself this time. We're going to talk about the graphics. And the person responsible for these graphics that did this excellent work is Stefan.
How you doing, man?
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Stefan.
to meet you too.
So, this is very artistic work.
I appreciate that.
That is not like a wrap or like things.
No,
That's hand painted.
Vinyls
right?
for records.
Vinyls
yeah.
for records.
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah, we hand paint stuff around here.
Yep, it's very cool. So I have to ask you, how do you get started doing graphics or custom painting cars?
Well, it all kind of really started right here. I have been doing pinstriping and lettering, for fun here and there. And I was working for Billy, building cars, helping him out. And he kind of always pushed me to keep at it and keep trying and, don't stop. Even though life was getting crazy and I kind of had put it down. One day he had me paint that sign back there. And then it just kind of started getting the ball rolling and getting me going back into it. And I've turned it into like a full-time gig now.
So when let's say when you were young, like back in elementary school, did you have a gift for drawing and stuff like that? Do you think you were artistic from the get-go?
Yeah, we all started out with like stick figures and stuff, but some people just stick with it and
Well, I've tried. Keep trying. I can tell you, in 1,000 years, if I practiced, I could never do that.
I bet you could.
There is some people. It's how our brains work, and yours works in a way that allows you to do things like that.
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so it started with that sign, and then just rolled into a couple other pinstriping jobs. And then I started doing more and more, but it all came together. And this is like my favorite thing that I've ever done. And it was really cool knowing Billy's dad and knowing the importance of the original chip car to be able to, turn it up a notch. And Billy kind of gave me creative freedom to, do what I wanted with it. And
so did you paint this little guy?
Yeah, we designed and painted that. That's chip with a little more attitude.
Right, that's awesome.
And I think it's just cool as hell that this is a tribute to the original chip and to Billy's late father, who I knew also, and he was a great guy.
So do you work exclusively for Billy, or do you do like?
No, I've been working on and off for Billy for about 16 years at some capacity. I'm here, there. I also work with his son. We do nuclear power plant maintenance.
Oh, that's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, I like using both sides of my brain. But so I'm here, there, everywhere. If he needs me, I'm here. And then I do my own thing. Like I said, I paint signs now full time.
Oh,
yeah,
for people like businesses, whatever. Yep. So if somebody wanted to contract you, to hire you to create a really cool sign for them, how are they going to go about getting a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram, beyond_repair, or get a hold of Billy. He knows how to find me.
All right. Very good.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Stefan.
Yeah, man.
My pleasure.
Thank y'all.
All right. We're about done here, and I tell you, it's been a great day. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this, and owe you a great debt of appreciation, Billy.
No problem.
It was great. And you and your staff, I don't think we could have had better hosts, and just really appreciate what you do here and the skill all of y'all have. And I just want to say thank you.
I appreciate it very much. Thanks for having us.
I hope you like the video when we're done with it.
We'll check it out.
We're going to do our best.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.